Hello. Oh, wait. Why is my camera not working? Oh, wait. Do we have a wild Kyle Williams showing up? Kyle,
Hello, testing. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Thank you
There
so
we
much
go.
for joining me today.
Yes, sir. I saw you there.
I feel bad asking you again. We sent off Kyle last week. We said thank you for joining us for the week. And then Huddy's still in the air flying back home from God knows where, somewhere across the pond. And I get nervous. I don't want to do it by myself, so
I just
I had to
woke
bring
up,
on
but
a
I
guest.
I saw I saw Dom's request, and I was like, "Here we go. We're back."
Let's run it. I'll handle it. You just pop in if you notice anything or wanna give a lesson or something. But
Alrighty.
you see that we got a new layout. You see that? I'm still working on the
Looks
rest of it, but
looks very nice.
looks very gamified, if you will. But welcome in everyone. It is the week of August 7th, year of our Lord 2023. Already chugging along in the new month. Summer is coming to a close. Not sure if summer trading is going to be completely closed out, but we're definitely moving towards the fall. College football is within us. A lot of news there. If you guys pay attention to that, um, Oregon now in the Big Ten. Big news for me. We'll keep that on the sidelines for now, though. Yeah, we're moving along towards the fall, so hopefully the market picks up with it. Let's take a look here at the overall market. So in the last week or so, a little bit of pullback. Um, Off of the highs, had that big day, tried to gap up through the highs, have been unable to break that ever since. But as we continue to go back further and further, you can actually see that we've had quite a nice little comeback off of the lows from 2022. Last year feels like it was forever ago, but really nice to see. But on a short-term trend, definitely in the midst of a pullback. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. Yeah, first decent sized red candle that's closed in a while on the weekly. Had some interesting type of runners last week. We kind of talked about towards the end of the week that maybe we're going to move more towards a bearish trend, more short heavy into the end of the week. And I would say for the most part that was true. We had stuff like TUP kind of top out. Yell failed to break out and is now in the midst of a 50% gap down. Good morning.
I think. Good morning. I think they finally announced officially they were going bankrupt, which was pretty
Okay.
obvious. I can't if I'm not correct or if not mistakenly. Let's look at this. They did AK. What does the AK say? Um, I'm pretty sure they're gonna go bankrupt. Yeah, chapter 11, which is just crazy to me because like that was obvious. I
Yeah.
just don't understand. Like this doesn't surprise me.
I feel like there was just a lot of the confusion there with the whole. Weren't they getting a bunch of investments in the last few weeks from people
There was just a
influxing
fund
of
that
money?
there was
Okay.
just a fund that was buying up their float to for bankruptcy. Like if they sell off
Yeah.
their assets for bankruptcy, there was like some kind of inefficiency or that they wanted to take advantage of. I guess is my guess. Um, so I don't know. And I'm sure they have a below two average. Like they've been buying it since 50 cents to like 150.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just it's shocking that people I just didn't think this would happen. It's like
But that
so
chart
weird.
looks to be quite dead. Add that one to the list of bankruptcy stocks this year. Um, for the most part, they've created some opportunity following even this news. So we'll see going forward, but nothing there for the big dog from me. Let's head on over to scanners. We got 100% MOVA Also notice a few on here from last week, so nice to see some extension. We have SVFD. Start with the chart. Pretty big move from 60 cents to $1.60 for the highs of pre-market today. Save Foods Inc. Just off the daily chart, definitely top left to bottom right. Only big volume day we have is from May, and that tapped out at 130, which is right around where we are right now. So I'm sure there's some people shorting a 100% move into resistance pre-market. That's actually a pattern, so I could definitely see people doing that. And then the next volume isn't back until like the 5 or 6 area. There's some tops on the chart, but for me, I'm really focusing on big volume days because I don't really care too much about these levels of resistance if no one was trading them. I really want to focus on, resistance where I expect there to be bag holders from, where I expect there to be shorts in from, like whatever it is, like people there that are going to slow down a move. And I don't think, when a stock tops out on 32,000 shares and then already pre-market's doing 10 million, that those 32,000 shares are really going to be that impactful. Let's see what we got for dilution here. 7 mil float, pretty low for that
low
cheap
one.
of a stock. What do they do here? Agri-food tech industry, food and waste and loss in food safety.
My first look, I don't even see any news.
Well, let's see. I don't see any news either. How do I check? Doesn't E-Trade if I... Wait. Is there a tool for news on E-Trade? Let's see if this one has any. I need a better news source, I feel like.
Yeah, I don't see any, even on Yahoo Finance 3 months ago. So there must be either rumors or something floating around because even an SEC filing, I don't see the last SEC filing until August 1st. So we're oddly just up.
Yeah,
I always have trouble envisioning that, but it could just be up, just to be
There's
up.
also oh wait 1 second. Why is Save Foods up 27% today? It says despite lack of news, that's the news. No news, no press releases. That's the news. Okay, and maybe just some sort of behind the scenes information because it did do like a little bit out of ordinary volume yesterday, on a pretty tiny move, 57 to 63. It's so hard to tell with how liquid it is, but yeah, so maybe some people knew something was going to happen. Maybe something still will happen, but no news here. But it is up a lot. So this is the type of chart coming from the under dollar range. I think Yell was the same type of way, Yell or TUP. Now into the dollars is some resistance. We'll see how 130 acts out of the gate. Not a breakout that I would trade. I'm more of a multi-day type of breakout. So set a top, consolidate for a couple days, and then breakout. This would be more of a multi-month type of breakout. Interested to see how that works as the biggest percent gainer on the day. Maybe that can kind of set the tone for the next few days if that starts to rip. But again, pretty low float there. Then we have AGRI. Wait. What did the news say for Save? It said it was Agri-Food, and then the name of this ticker is Agri-Force. Okay, this cannot just be a coincidence, right? AGRI's says, yeah, growing systems. Let's see.
Maybe they're up together.
It is food. All right, something's going on here. Maybe there's news on this one, and that is why. So on Friday, they provided update on the Unthink Awakened Flour nutritional advantages. I'm trying to find like if there's like some sort of connection between the two, but I'm not seeing it.
Is that just a fancy way of saying they changed their fertilizer?
I think so.
Hmm.
On the qualification, they now confirmed the nutritional edge its new product has over regular flour. 77% less
right.
carbs. That's actually kind of dope for a flour. get away with a lot for that. Okay, nothing too special there. This chart isn't as interesting as SVBP either. Lower priced. What is this float? 35 mil float here. This company is working with a little less cash, zero point 0.9 months, and a lot more potential dilution here with warrants and an active ATM. Yeah, this one has basically been a bottom dweller for the last few months. Some areas of importance would be probably this 30-cent area, 40-cent area. Not a big day one guy for me, especially on weak daily charts like this, but we will see how this one goes. Yeah, it's not really in a price range. I don't think anyone really is all that interested in shorting either. Up 52% on the day, which is only 7 cents. So would need to see something pretty crazy for this one to get interested. But just going to take a note that the AGRI and SVBP, although I can't find any connections between the two, are kind of in the same type of industry with food. And they're both the two highest percent gainers on the day. So if on Wednesday there's a play on one or both of them, maybe keep in mind that there's some sort of connection here, even if it's just people saying that there are sympathies. Right. Third one is MF, and this is one that we talked a little bit about. I don't remember if it had to have been Friday, right?
Yeah, gap up Friday.
Big gap up into the 120s from the 50-cent area. Ended up having a nice move towards 250, and then this morning has been as high as almost 4. Let's pull back the daily chart just a little bit more now. So just looking at volume, this is, when I'm scanning, the most important thing that I'm looking to do is really see how important today is to the rest of the daily chart. If it's consistent, if it's the first time it's really ran, if this is stock that runs often on big volume, it doesn't go anywhere, or like gaps up and does nothing. As you can see here, the volume in the last 2 days really is the biggest we've seen in the last few years. The stock really generally hasn't traded all that much. I'm going to take a guess that there's a reverse split in here. I think we probably made that guess last week. But now on day 2 of its run, and this is when it turns more into the type of trade that more of the clovers are going to focus on, which is multi-day runners, extension, daily charts that are kind of fresh. And right now, it's up 40% of the day, was up a little higher in pre-market. It did 120 million on Friday. So definitely has the eyes and the interest. Not something I'm going to short on day 2, although I'm sure there are a lot of people looking at this one. I would probably need to see one more day out of it, and I would rather short a gap down or a green to red move. I don't really do all that well at shorting gap ups, although I know, Kellogg was here last week. He kind of filled me in on what makes him decide on whether he wants to short a gap up or not. So that's something I will probably hope to learn going forward. Kyle, what are your thoughts? MF, Miss Fresh?
Yeah, I don't really. I don't want to short this day either. Pre-market early, what is that, like 1 a.m., 1:14 a.m. Held Friday's high perfectly. Doesn't mean that's going to hold out the open, but I would have envisioned that being a level of support for today. And if that holds that, I just think this can run more. It's a low float. Again, most one-day runners I've shorted this year have not turned out well for me. So a multi-day run is much more preferred. Would I long it? No. I know there's many people who are aggressive long and can take it long and go take it higher. That'd be totally fine if that's your strategy or that's how you do things. But for me, I already didn't even want to long it yesterday. So it's just no long for me, no short for me. If it runs today, then maybe a short tomorrow. But yeah, that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah, and now that I'm putting my real brain on and just reading, I'm guessing that MF is the one that's leading all this. They're in the grocery store industry, fresh market foods. And then I'm guessing the other two that we just read about are the sympathies to this one gapping up.
Little
Here we are coming round circle
sector
on a freaking Monday morning, figuring it out. Yeah, and I also wasn't really around Thursday and Friday, so cut me some slack because I was golfing.
I need to go buy Amazon because they own Whole Foods now.
Yeah, they're just putting one in a couple towns over, like a giant storefront. Do you guys, are those a real thing yet in real cities?
Whole Foods, yeah.
Not Whole Foods. Is that what it's called?
Well,
Whole Foods is different than the Amazon one. isn't it?
Oh, yeah, I guess you're technically right. But didn't Amazon buy Whole Foods to implement that? I don't know, maybe I'm off. But yeah,
I'm
no,
trying to
the
think
or
what they
the are
called
you
it.
talking about the Amazon one where you like don't have cashiers and you just pick up stuff and put in your cart?
I think so. I think that's
I
what's
even
going in around me.
I think there's very few of those out there. I think I've only been to
Okay.
one or seen or heard of one in my area.
I don't know. But okay. So that's nice to see a little bit of sector momentum here this morning. In that case, the idea for MF being a short today for me goes really out the window. I'd rather see them go a lot higher, pull up your SVBPs. Um, if I can, that's not the ticker.
Is it here?
What is the name of the ticker?
SV,
SVFD.
yeah, SVFD.
Make these go a lot higher. AGRI is probably the back burner, the more crappy of all of them. So if that could go 100, 200% on the heels of the other ones, that would be real interesting. Oh, if you read the chat, they were talking about this for like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And they kept saying, read the chat.
Let's see.
Um,
Oh, yeah.
Amazon owns Whole Foods for sure. We don't have Whole Foods around where I live. Out in the middle of BFE. Okay. Well, that's interesting. That's kind of cool to see. Um, yeah, my watch list already was pretty bare going into this week. With most of the runners from last week kind of dwindling and dying, but nice to see some potential momentum starting early this week. I have a new one that just popped up, VTGN. Doesn't look like it's a food stock just yet, but up pretty recently just now from 9 a.m. just now from $2 to $5 pretty much. Let's see here. Pretty lowish float, 7.7 million. Overall was high for dilution. There's a medicine biotech, so I don't think there's food here. They have negative zero point zero months of cash left. Still got a pretty large size ATM that's available. Let's see their news. 33 minutes ago, they announced positive top line results from phase 3 nasal spray and social anxiety disorder.
Hmm.
Nasal spray? You're getting anxious and nervous, and then you just spray something up your nose.
Just squirt the nose, you know? Yeah.
So phase 3, that is the last big one for biotechs, correct?
Yes, I think there's one more step after that, but yeah, phase three is like the last of like trials per se are getting tested, if I'm mistaken.
So that's pretty good news then for a company like this. I'm pretty sure it's one we've traded in the past. VTGN definitely brings some bells. Pretty downtrodden daily chart, top left to bottom right. Huge gap down at the end of last year from, I don't know if it was reverse split up or from the 20s down to the 4s. And right now it's kind of been sitting at the lower end of this range for the last like year or so, from the 3 to 2 area up towards 10. And now we're kind of mid-range on this morning spike already, up 200% now. So a few pretty big gappers that should have the eyes and the attention of lots of short sellers, lots of momentum buyers. Two pretty low float stocks. I don't know why I can't memorize the name of this ticker. SVFD, VTGN. So far, kind of leading the pack on these runners. My game plan for most of these is just going to be leave them alone. Kind of take the temperature of the market today. If these do continue to run, if they have short burst of momentum out of the gate and then kind of fade and fail all day and turn into doji day ones, that would kind of be a sign for the week that it's going to be kind of slow, and that the overall kind of downtrend in the big picture market is probably finding its way over into small caps as well. So nothing. I won't be doing anything with any of these tickers. The ones I'll probably watching the most closely be MF, just because it is on day 2 now of its big move. Starting to come in a little bit in pre-market here, but this would be one where if it can hold green on the day, close higher, maybe tomorrow, it would be something I'd be watching for a first red day.
Yep. I like that.
Kyle likes it. Okay. Let's see if there's anything that big up on the day that's of importance. I don't really see anything here.
Think
I think the main ones we kind of went over that are going to be interesting today are going to be MFS, VFD, AGRI, VTGNs. Couple 100% plus gap ups on the day, one multi-day runner, and a couple sympathies to MF. So that's really a couple things to keep an eye on. Better than a lot of Mondays we've had in the last few weeks of summer. But for me, I'll probably still be keeping that July mindset, retirement mode, just sitting back, waiting for daily chart setups to set up for me, whether that's multi-day breakouts, first red day on extended stocks, or potentially some first green days. If you are a Clover member, and you saw my watch list from last night, there's one that I'm watching this morning for a first green day. So that will be my main watch going into the day. Someone says TTOO earnings after the bell. So that was another big runner from last week. Where's my charts? Earnings after the close today. Yeah, always good to stay safe in those situations. Understand, Nate always says know what you own. Understand the situation too. I don't check news mostly because I'm looking for some groundbreaking information that's going to like lead the pack and I'm going to be able to get in early. News for me is just generally to be safe and be aware of things, and forward-looking news, like things that for a fact are coming on, Wednesday or after the close today or next week. Important to pay attention to that stuff because earnings can make stocks do wild things regardless of the actual earnings themselves. And you can see some pretty wonky moves, and they don't, even though they might end up in the same type of place tomorrow, those type of moves after hours can make it very uncomfortable to hold to any position, long or short. So just important to be aware of it. Not a great time on the daily chart to be having earnings after hours just because it is in the midst of its little fade from its highs towards 50 cents. Usually the only time that I would ever be in something with earnings later in the day is some anticipation of earnings where stocks are running up into it and it's still super strong. This one is a little weaker on the daily chart right now than that situation. Someone asked, VTGN going nuts, do stocks not halt pre-market? Kyle?
Speaking, what's the question?
Basically, VTGN's ripping from 9 a.m. to 9:08. Why is it not halting?
No, yeah, they don't halt pre-market or after hours. That's the bit of the scary part. Yeah, because 300% here in 10 minutes is very impressive. But yeah, no, this will not halt unless there is like news about the company that they want to halt it. In terms of volatility halt, that does not exist pre-market or post-market trading.
Yeah, and that was one of those things. If you start, you start diving deep into this game of day trading, like I remember being so green and so no, even months in, like little random news pieces of information that like really make the game in your favor or not. Like I remember being in a bad situation. I think it was like earnings or something after hours in a stock, and just on my if I pull up a buy order on E-Trade here, if I try to buy VTGN right now with this order box and just use a limit order, it won't go through because we're in pre-market right now. I have to change this destination to extended hours or 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. And that was something I remember getting stuck in a horrible. I lost like half my account of a tiny account, but it was horrible because I didn't know how to sell after hours. And, little stuff like that, like stocks halting, pre-market or after hours, what time your brokers allow you to start trading, how to change your orders to get filled in different situations. This is all stuff that is really important to day trading that you don't really ever hear too much about or really learn from people about. And it's kind of trial by fire if you're not paying attention to the right people and listening. But yeah, we all have a story like that somewhere, or people doubling down on a position when they're trying to get out of it. Learning how to manipulate those brokers and understand all the mechanisms of the market is part of that learning curve. But we've been going for a solid 20 minutes, 25 minutes now. So we're going to wrap her up. You guys already know boot camp coming in just about 3 weeks, like 20 days. Clovertrading.io is your source for all information on that. Still have some spots to fill. So if you're interested in going, head on over there. And, there is a free trial in the link in the description if you're looking to join Clover 3 or 4 Leaf. and that will get you 7 days in the room. So get you 2 webinars, everything that's on the site right now. So you could get in there, study your butt off, and then think about if you want to stay. Great community, traders in there doing really well recently. If you check our Twitter, we generally post every now and then some student results, and they've just been doing really well in there. Kyle, you have anything you want to say?
Nailed it on the head. Yeah, we're what is it? 19 19 days to the boot camp. So that is coming up. That is will be upon us shortly. But yeah, summer months are usually tougher, but it seems like some plays are keeping the momentum alive, and there are definitely some students doing better even than myself. I'm having quite a rough time, even though there's actually some good opportunity. So yeah, start the trial, see if you like it. If you like it, stay. If you don't, you don't. No worries. That's what the trial's for. So hope to see you guys in there. If not, we're going to go in there now and chat some more. So the chatting continues.
Chatting. All right, guys. We're excited to be in the new week of August. We will see you tomorrow morning, 8:45 a.m., hopefully with Huddy, so Kyle can get his extra 15 minutes of beauty rest.
All right, thanks, Don. See you guys.
See you guys.